Okay, I've got a good one today. Today we're going to be doing the exhaust. This is a 22 C8 Corvette, and it has a Z51 with the MPP exhaust. And I don't know, it's just a little too quiet for me. So we're going to be changing it out. For the exhaust, I went with the AWE Touring. This is it here. Got the tips. I think they're considering these resonators rather than mufflers. You got those like expansion areas. The X pipe. And the tips I went with are the black ones. I'll pull this guy out. It's like a black chrome. For the bumper, I picked up this little stand. It's 20 bucks from Harbor Freight. And then the other thing about AWE that I like is they include this aluminum heat shield. So I've got that. Sorry for the pulsing lights. I put these LEDs in the shop, and I don't know, they have some kind of frequency that, I don't know, just causes that strobe-like appearance. Okay, again, the AWE, they use this, I don't know if you want to call it a muffler or a resonator, but they say it has 180 technology, which cancels out the drone. Looking at a couple different valveless systems. I know I wanted valveless based on the problems that I know people have with the other manufacturer's valves, and I didn't want drone. So I'll get a measurement on this. I believe it's a true 3-inch, but what I wanted to show you is it is a completely straight through. Like there's no, let me see if I can get some light in here. So this is a true 3-inch exhaust, and you can see here, whatever, again, muffler, resonator, whatever you want to call it, it's completely straight through. There's basically 2 holes. They look to be about an inch or so down there. I know you're not going to be able to see them. And I think it just allows the exhaust to go in it, and then, internally inside of these, call them resonators, the sounds bounce off each other and cancel the drone out. I think that's the idea. Now for the X, of course this is all stainless steel. The weld quality is definitely not as good as like Paragon or the Fast Speed. But again, I was interested in not having a drone. Next, I've got my little saran wrap trick here, and 2 pieces of painter's tape just to protect the edges as we're going on and off with the bumper. And I've got that done on both sides. This is the roll here, and you get 2 rolls. I think these are about 18 inches wide, and it's a really thick like saran wrap, and they go for about 60 bucks for 2 rolls. Should last a lifetime. Okay, next we're going to be removing the liner and the floor mat, whatever you call these things, the brackets that hold in the top, and these pieces here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Also, while I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and remove these screws along the edge of the bumper, and they are just a simple T15. Okay, so I've got all the screws out here on the attaching bumper. Again, T15. You also use the T15 to remove the brackets that hold the top in. And you can see there's 4 bolts for those. Those are also T15. Do not need to remove these on the side. Do need to remove the lower ones. Now with that, the carpet should come right out. Oh, there's 2 little clips down here, so I'm going to have to pop those off. Then I'll move it. Okay, so there's actually 4 of those little clips. So there's that one, and then 2 on the other side. Okay, with the mat removed, now we got to remove this access cover. And this is something that you want to do first, because what I've seen people do is struggle with the nuts on the passenger side exhaust. And what AWE says in the instructions is to, before you start removing the bumper, to get those soaked with some penetrating oil. So that's what I'm going to do now. And there's 19, looks like T15 screws that hold the access panel on. Okay, so I've got the access cover off, and a pretty cool thing is the perspective on the videos that I've seen. It seems like the exhaust was much further up than it actually is. It's right here. You can see here, this is where the cover goes, and it's right there. So, you know, driver's side looks to be a piece of cake. Passenger side, this is, I guess, the more difficult side, but, you know, it's just the bottom bolt that I think will be hard, and I plan on doing it from underneath. Not an advertisement. This is the Freall penetrating oil that I'm going to be using, and I'm going to put those on the nuts for the driver and passenger side now. Okay, I have the quick jacks, the BL 5000 SLX, and the distance between where that pad is and this area, it's too short. So you can turn them on end like this. So these are designed to go lengthwise against the car, and I'm just putting them perpendicular. Yeah, one more thing on this. I was over at SEMA this year, and I went over to the bend pack makers of the quick jack, and I talked to, I think his name was Greg, he's the vice president of the company. And I was going to get the extensions, and he said, you know, you can turn them on end. We just don't advertise it because of the any liability with releasing the locks. But he says, yeah, just use a broom handle to tip them up so you're not under the car when you release it. You'll be fine. So that's what I'm going to do here. So again, you can see that's the model number there on the quick jacks. And then I have just a short block, and the larger ones will fit. And then I have the Paragon pucks, and I'm putting them directly on the puck. So this is the driver's side. Bear with me. Go over to the passenger side just to show that it does work. A lot of people online talking about you can't use it, you know, too short. And well, that's the case if you're going, you know, the length of the car. But if you're going this way, it's just fine. Okay, here you go. So all I did is there's room to move this block, and it's right underneath the jacking putt. So I'll get the back set up, and then I'll start lifting it and just show everybody that does work. There's also a question whether you can use them like this, going perpendicular. Again, coming from pretty much the head of the company, you absolutely can. Okay, here's the quick jacks. I've got it lifted up, and again, just showing that it does fit. And one thing I will say is you need to make sure that you're on the locks. You don't want to just lift it up without being on the locks. Okay, going to the other side, driver's side. You can see up on, there's the puck. And it's hard to see here, but it's there as well. Kind of see the red puck hanging under, and it is not touching the rocker. Now you don't need to take off the wheels. I just took them off because I wanted a little bit more easier access to pulling these rock tip guards off. And then there's a couple of Torx bits you've got to remove here to free up the inner fender well, so that you can get the attaching hardware for where the bumper mates up to the quarter pound. Okay, after you get those rock chip guards off, you've got a T15 here and here that you need to remove. Now we're underneath the car. We're going to be removing these covers. There's some T15, some 7mm, and there's two panels, this one and this one here, that we've got to remove, so I'll be doing that. Alright, now you just got to peel back the insulation. I have a light in here so we can kind of see. And there's, let's see, there's two 7mm and bolts, and then where the socket is, I've got a long extension, 1/4 inch drive. It's probably about 18 inches long, and a 10mm on that for the nut. Alright, now we got the bumper off. We've got to disconnect the MPP valves on both sides. There's a little red tab here. You pull this out, unplug it, and then the reason I went with the AWE is because they include the simulators for both the AFM and the MPP valve, so you don't have to worry about check engine light. So we'll put those on and zip tie them out of the way. Okay, here's one of the simulators that is plugged in to the harness. This is the harness. This is the simulator, and it just clicked right in. And now I just close the little red tab. And they supply the zip ties, and you just do this, just pull it out of the way. Sorry about that, I stopped filming here. Okay, so over on the driver's side, there's two 15-inch nuts. Pulled those off. Over here, there's three 13-inch nuts. I'm using a long breaker bar. Wasn't that bad. I've seen people really wrenching on them, and it wasn't bad at all. So I got the top two. The bottom one does seem like it's a little challenging. You got to go not only from underneath but from the side to get at it. Other thing I did was went ahead and dropped down the two front mounts. That makes some room if you're going to go through here to get the nuts. You can do that with a long extension. It's just they were right up here, so this is the way I'm doing it. Okay, exhaust is out. Wasn't that bad. Here's the passenger side. I went ahead and put some anti-seize on those studs. Driver side, same thing. And before I get going on the install, I'm going to have to disconnect the AFM valve. So there's the wiring harness here and here. And we use those same simulators like we use on the MPP valves. So we're going to plug those in, zip tie them out of the way, and then continue on. Sorry about that, I keep forgetting to film. Okay, so pretty simple. This is a downpipe from the driver's side, and the passenger side is here. Of course, you know, put the clamps on, X pipe, and you can see I have the, I don't know, the side with the resonator / muffler on over here, and it goes into the hanger here and right there. And of course, I'm not tightening anything down just yet. Okay, so I've got the exhaust on, and again I went with the AWE, the Touring. Here's the tips, 4.5, and they're black. Let's see if we can see in the grill at all. Let's see, there's the AWE like heat shield, and then the resonators. Now I kind of gave up on trying to film the install of the exhaust just because it was taking too long, too many interruptions, but we're gonna get a cold start. Okay, you can see here we're about 5 foot away, and again we're gonna do a cold start. I think previously with the stock exhaust we hit 106 decibels. Now it quiets down pretty good. The cold start, I'm not gonna lie, the cold start's pretty loud, and I was starting to question, wow, you know, this might be a little too loud. But no, it quiets down really quick. I did take it for a drive around the neighborhood, and it sounded amazing. The exhaust pop is a little more pronounced. You can hear the downshifts, the burbles or the crackles, whatever you want to call them, they're there. And the low RPM, you can actually hear the car from inside. So I'm happy.